Another fantastic A-feature event for the Summit Racing Equipment USMTS Modifieds right here at the Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. I'm telling you, if you guys are within driving distance and you've stayed at home and watched the last 2 nights, get out here tomorrow night. You're not going to want to miss the finale of the King of America here at Lucas Oil Speedway. $20,000 on the line tomorrow night for the Summit Racing Equipment USMTS Modifieds. 2A features left here this evening, and now rolling out of the staging area next. The Clear Creek Golf Cars USRA B-Mod A main, 25 laps in distance. 24 cars the starting lineup. Here's a look at how they'll line up. On the pole out of Bullard, Texas, the 457 is Boone Evans. To his outside out of Protovan, Iowa, the 85 is Ben Modry. Starting third out of Lansing, Kansas, the 7J is Jake Richards. To his outside from Lebanon, Missouri, the 65, that's Chris Jackson. Starting fifth out of Max Creek, Missouri, the number 30 is Rex Harris. To his outside from Siren, Wisconsin, the 11R is Landon Rant. Starting seventh from Chinook, Kansas, the D86 is Donald McIntosh. To his outside from Springfield, Missouri, the 18 is J.C. Morton. In ninth from Nevada, Missouri, the 8S is John Sheets. And to his outside from Richmond, Missouri, the 57M is Aaron Morant. Starting 11th out of Camdenton, Missouri, the 11 is Waylon Dimmitt. To his outside from Fairmont, Minnesota, the number 17 is Clay Beamer. And inside of number 7 from Jamestown, North Dakota, the 1S is Scott Benz. To his outside from Sedalia, Missouri, the 90 is Terry Schultz. Starting 15th is Chad Clancy out of Polo, Missouri, in the 57C. To his outside, it's Andy Bryant out of Fort Scott, Kansas, in 28. Dan Hovden out of Decorah, Iowa, in the 16D starts 17th. And it's Tyler Kidwell out of Chinook, Kansas, in the 54 in 18th. 19th is Brian Bolin out of Fort Scott, Kansas, in the X2. Taylor Scalgi to the outside out of Caledonia, Minnesota, in the 32X. Talon Willis out of Elizabeth, Louisiana, in the 10M starts on the 21st. 22nd is Michael Taylor III out of Kansas City, Missouri, in the 6T. Dawson David out of Mexico, Missouri, in the 20D. And JT Carroll out of Camdenton, Missouri, in the 94C. Make up your 24-car field. 24 cars, 25 laps. Here comes your Clear Creek Golf Cars USRA B-Mods. Off of turn number 4, lap number 1, and the B-Mod A-Main going to go to the 7J. That's Jake Richards. Richards out in front. Boone Evans rides in the second spot. Here comes last night's winner, Chris Jackson, behind the wheel of car number 65. Down into turns 1 and 2. Jackson tiptoes around the bottom of the racetrack. Evans up top, Modry to the outside. Those three battling for second, third, and fourth. Sheets locked in a battle with the 11R of Landon Rant behind him as well. So everybody in a tussle right now behind this 7J of Jake Richards, who's just trying to click laps off as we go. 3 down, 22 to go here tonight for the B-Mods. Chris Jackson now up to the second spot as he gets by the 457 of Boone Evans. Again, it's been an interesting last 12 months or so for the 65 of Chris Jackson. Had a year hiatus given to him from the USRA B-Mod ranks. Comes back last night, wins his first time out. Back in the B-Mod here with the USRA at the Lucas Oil Speedway. But between then and now has given up ownership of the J2 chassis program. In fact, John Sheets is the gentleman now at the head of that program. Right behind him, Jackson still runs a J2 race car, still has customers that he helps build those cars. And now we got problems behind him. The 28 of Andy Bryant and looks like him and the 85 of Modry got together. That sent Modry around. couple other cars come in and made hard contact after having nowhere to go. I know one of them was Terry Schultz. And going to look at the FK Rodden's instant replay on the screen. Andy Bryant on the top of the racetrack through turns 1 and 2. Ben Modry working the bottom. Bryant had a run off of turn 2. Modry looks like he was setting up to run the middle part of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. And when he did, Bryant just got into the back of him, got him turned around as he had too much momentum to be able to get it shut down. Again, FK Rodden's instant replay on your screen at home. There's Andy Bryant. Yeah, Modry went to set up for the corner, and Bryant didn't know he was going to do it. Got right into the back of the 85, and 2 cars come along and clipped him with nowhere to go. One of those was the 90 of Schultz. Modry's taking his 85 back to the pit area, see if he visits the Denny Crane Racing Engines hot pit area or not. And it appears Modry taking it back to the trailer here tonight. Seven laps down rather in a 25 lap affair. So we'll have $18 laps to go. Math was failing me there for a moment. 18 laps to go once we go back to green. There's the 90 of Schultz getting some assistance off of the speedway. He got one of the worst ends of that. After contact with the 85 of Modry when Modry was around. The 30 of Rex Harris, the other car that made contact. You can see the damage on your screen there. Off at turn number 4. Green flag in the air. Jake Richards once again will lead off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. John Sheets in the 8S though. He's got that J2 chassis high, wide, and handsome off the top part of the racetrack, looking for the lead. Give it to Sheets that time by the flag stand. John Sheets taking a page out of Reese Solander's notebook. Now going to drive out in front of the 7J. Richards left to figure out what just happened and what's he going to do about it. Meanwhile, the 65 of Chris Jackson continues to tiptoe around the bottom part of the racetrack. Now he sees what's going on in front of him, and then, nope, still chooses the bottom side of the speedway in turns 1 and 2. Fourth is Landon Brandt. Boone Evans rides in at 5th. Dan Hovden trying to change that as he's got to the left side of the 457. Into turns 1 and 2. Evans up top. Dan Hovden along the bottom part of the racetrack. Hovden good along the bottom, and he'll take over 5th. That puts Boone Evans back to 6th. Looks like we're going to lose the 57M of Morant. John Sheets right now just driving out of everybody's life as Jake Richards still dealing with the 65 of Chris Jackson. Jackson finally giving up the ghost on the bottom part of the racetrack and has gone up top. Now rip right around the 7J of Richards. So it's Jackson up top. Both Jackson and John Sheets in J2 chassis here tonight. Richards has finally moved off the bottom of the racetrack. He's through the middle. Hovden working to take over fourth from the 11 of Landon Rant. You're watching Landon Rant work around the 16 of Hovden off of turn 4. Down the front straightaway behind him, field 2 and nearly 3 wide at times throughout the rest of the field. Up front, John Sheets continues to hammer the top of the racetrack like a jackhammer on concrete. In fact, you can see he might have even gotten into the fence a little bit with that right rear. It's bent down, but doesn't seem to affect him at all. He's off of turn to number 2 right now. John Sheets scooting away to a 2.1 second lead, this time by the flag stand. 15 laps down, 10 laps to go. John Sheets still under fire from more and more competitors. Hovden this time, the man on the move is Sheets, or excuse me, that's Jake Richards rather. Richards watched 2 guys go around him on the top part of the racetrack. Hovden just went around him on the bottom. Richards has to be sitting there thinking, man, what do I got to do to keep guys from passing me? Nevertheless, he's back to fourth. Landon Rant all over the backside as well. So the pressure's not going to subside for the 7J, as fourth will now be under protest as they roll into turns 3 and 4. John Sheets a full straightaway, the advantage down on the back chute into turns 3 and 4. Chris Jackson continues to ride in second, Hovden third, Richards fourth, and Landon Rant round out your top 5. Good battle on screen right there. Scott Benz trying to look for a way into the top 5. He's trying to see if he can do anything with the 11 of Landon Rant. Both of those cars searching the bottom part of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Behind him, Clancy and Kidwell battle side by side. 20 down, 5 to go. John Sheets all alone out in front of the field right now. There's a couple of good battles on your screen. That's for 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th. Scott Benz going to roll by the 11 of Rant. He'll take over a spot inside the top 5. Rant back to 6th. Clancy 7th. Kidwell 8th. Boone Evans going to make the hard right-hand turn at the top of turn 2 to the pit area as we pick your leader up once again with just 4 laps to go. Smooth sailing for the 8S right now, as he's got a 3.5 second lead over the 65 of Chris Jackson. Picking him up, putting him down here tonight, rolling the top part of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Jackson starting to feel some slight pressure from the 16 of Dan Hovden. We'll see if Hovden can get there in the remaining lap on the racetrack. Chris Jackson with a good set of corners that time, so he gives himself enough breathing room. But off of turn number 4, your winner, it's John Sheets in 8S. Chris Jackson goes second, Dan Hovden third, Jake Richards fourth, and Scott Benz rounds out the top 5. Chad Clancy, Tyler Kidwell, Landon Rant. Kidwell got Rant right at the line, so Rant is 8th, Dawson David 9th, Talon Willis rounds out the top 10.